talk about Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If you are in the Tampa Bay area, and if you are a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, you can attest to this. A lot of people want to see Todd Bowles be fired because of what has transpired over the last couple of weeks. And let's be real, what has transpired since week 1? This defense has not been good this season. And to be real with you guys, the defense last season, they're very underwhelming as well in terms of going out there and playing passing defense. Todd Bowles has been a very good defensive mind in the past, but this is not his first year in the NFL as a head coach. We have seen him be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers head coach for some time now, and he's a former New York Jets head coach as well. I think that Todd Bowles does a lot of good things. He's getting a bad rep right now, and rightfully so. This is part of it. We go back to what happened a week ago. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers lost in bad fashion to the Baltimore Ravens. Baker Mayfield was playing very well. He threw the 2 interceptions in that game, and that's one thing that I will have to say about Baker Mayfield in the next couple minutes. The interceptions are getting ridiculous at this point, but when I look at Todd Bowles, it's the same blitz formation over and over again. He's trying to go out there and create pressure. Now, I do feel for him because the front 7 cannot generate pressure on their own. So he's trying to go out there and find ways to blitz and put guys in one-on-one situations in the secondary. The counterpart is this right here. Teams just go out there, they block the guys up front, and they beat them over the top. Another reason to why a lot of people are not happy with Todd right now is because the injury that happened to Chris Godwin. We saw what happened to Mike Evans. He got injured early in the game against the Baltimore Ravens. That was very unfortunate. He shouldn't have been playing in that game to begin with, in my opinion. He was obviously hurt, and he was limping in the game. But the man is one of the best wide receivers, and in my opinion, the best wide receiver the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have ever seen. He goes out there, he plays through his injury, and he gets hurt again. He's going to miss the next couple weeks as he is still dealing with a hamstring injury. And Chris Godwin got injured late in the game. Why are your starters still in the game when you're losing by so much? It was a 0% chance that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to go out there and defeat the Baltimore Ravens. So you still have Baker Mayfield passing the football, and Chris Godwin gets hurt. He hurts his ankle. Now, injuries can happen in the first quarter, second quarter, whenever. It's football. It's a high collision sport. But when you look at the way that he got injured in garbage time in a game, Chris Godwin statistically was a top wide receiver in the NFL. In my opinion, even when he's fully healthy, he's a top number 2 wide receiver. And on most teams in the NFL, he could be a true number 1. Why is he still in the game? He is too valuable to lose. Why is Baker Mayfield still in the game against the Baltimore Ravens? The game was over with. You should have pulled starters at the beginning of the fourth quarter. But this is something that Todd has done in the past with the New York Jets and with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. When they're getting blown out, he keeps the starters out there. And unfortunately, Chris Godwin got hurt. That's why a lot of fans want to see him moved on from. The fact that his defense has not been good this season. And also for the simple fact that he doesn't make the right adjustments at halftime. He's more so of a defensive coordinator than he is a head coach. And the defense isn't panning out. In my opinion, should they move on from him after this season? I think that they should. If they don't make the NFL playoffs, I think that this team has a ceiling with Todd Bowles. We saw this last year in the playoffs. Yes, they found a way to get to the NFL playoffs. They went out there, they won their division. Baker Mayfield throws an interception in the Detroit Lions game. But when you look at it from week 1, from all the way to the end of the season, their secondary was a major problem. And yes, they dealt with injury with the defense, but it's the same system over and over again. They blitz too much. So when you go against elite level competition and elite level quarterbacks, they're going to go out there and eat up the defense. And I do believe that there is a place in the NFL for Todd Bowles, but as a head coach, it's just too much for him. He has to worry about defensive adjustments. He has to worry about the entire team as well. And he's done a very good job with hiring the right offensive coordinator. Dave Canales last season was a solid offensive coordinator. He comes in right now and he brought in Coach Liam. So far, he looks very good as well. It's just very unfortunate because I actually like Coach Todd, but he is blitzing way too much in my opinion. And to keep your stars out there late in the game against the Baltimore Ravens, that's unfortunate. I think that he cost his team this season, and he's going to cost them for the rest of the season because the defense isn't good. Now, when I look at this offense, Baker Mayfield is playing like a top quarterback in the NFL. 21 passing touchdowns to 9 interceptions. You would like to see the interception number get lower. That's one thing that you would love to see. But at the same time, he's trying to go out there and overcompensate for a defense that can't stop a nosebleed. Baker Mayfield is going out there and throwing 2 interceptions against the Baltimore Ravens. Bad look. He's throwing 2 interceptions against the Atlanta Falcons. That's another bad look as well. He deserves some blame. Even though he is playing well right now, he is also throwing a lot of interceptions. They have to dial back off of that as well. I have been impressed with their offense as a whole because they have found a way to go out there and run the football. Their rushing game has not looked this good since Ryan Jensen. When Ryan Jensen went down with that knee injury, they could not run the football at all. Now you have 3 running backs that can go out there and be good on any week's notice. You have Rashard White, who I like a lot, and he seems like he's the worst running back on the team, and he's not a bad running back in my opinion. Bucky Irving, in my opinion, is better than him, and so is Sean Tucker. Bucky Irving is averaging 5 yards a carry, 3 rushing touchdowns, 395 rushing yards on the season. Sean Tucker, his numbers are inflated because of the great game that he had against the New Orleans Saints, but he's a very good running back in my opinion as well. And once again, I'm not saying that Rashard White is a terrible running back. He's also another good running back in my opinion. So they're going out there and they're running the football. They're playing complete offensive football right now. And when you look at what happened against the Atlanta Falcons, you didn't have Mike Evans. You didn't have Chris Godwin. They were still in that game late in the game. And we could talk about the interceptions that Baker Mayfield threw. But why is Kirk Cousins going out there and having the success that he's having? We saw what happened many weeks ago. The man had 500 plus passing yards and 5 passing touchdowns on this defense and 4 passing touchdowns yesterday against this defense. You cannot have that when you have defensive talent with Vita Vea and Kalijah Kancey. And I understand Kalijah Kancey has missed a lot of time over the last couple of years with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he needs to be better on the field when he's able to step on the field. But I still think there's high upside with him. Vita Vea is one of the top defensive tackles in the NFL. Yaya Diaby hasn't been the same guy coming off the edge this season either. Like I mentioned before, it's the reason why Todd's going out there and he's blitzing. You could say keep him around as well, but it's the defensive scheme that's not working out. Levante David, when he's fully healthy, he's still one of the best linebackers in the game. And Antoine Winfield missed time this season as well. And Antoine Winfield is a top safety in the NFL. I really like what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have, and I still think that they can contend in this division. It was a situation to where Antoine Winfield knocked the ball out of Kyle Pitts' hands right before he entered the red zone, but the referee said no, he didn't. So they gave the Atlanta Falcons a touchdown anyway. That's a bang-bang play. It was also a crucial face mask that the referees missed in this game as well for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so I understand that. Like I said, I don't want to see Todd get fired, but I understand why Tampa Bay Buccaneer fans want to see him get fired. I really do. I sympathize with them. They're just one game out of their division right now. They're 4-4 in the season. The Atlanta Falcons are 5-3. What is hurting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers so bad is this. You don't get to face the Falcons anymore this season. You lost to them twice already. That's it. And I do believe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are better than the New Orleans Saints, and they are better than the Carolina Panthers. Over the last few years since Tom Brady was the quarterback, they have won the division back-to-back years. So as a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, you feel that grip slipping away and you don't like it. You can say there's a bit of an overreaction for Buccaneer fans to say move on from Todd Bowles, but I do believe they can find a better head coach than him right now in the current moment. They have talent, and I would give Coach Lim a lot of credit. Baker Mayfield went out there and he balled out against the Falcons. You take away those 2 interceptions, and they found a way to give Cade Otton the football more. You have Jalen, you have Trey Palmer. Those guys are not ready to be number one and number two wide receivers, in the NFL. That's why you still have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin on the roster. That's why those guys are so essential in the NFL. In my opinion, they're the best wide receiving duo when fully healthy in the NFL because of the damage that they can cause. And I look at this offensive line as well with Tristan Wirfs, who is one of the best tackles in the NFL. And Graham Barton, every single week he continues to get better. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are still going to be in a good spot, but Todd Bowles may have cost them this season because of his decision making. And you look at that injury to Chris Godwin, that's just very unfortunate. I don't want to see him go because he's done so many good things in the past, but right now in this current moment, he hasn't been a good head coach this season. And really the only reason that they're winning football games is because of Baker Mayfield and those offensive weapons. The defense is not going out there and holding up their end of the bargain. And unfortunately for Todd, he's not an offensive guru. He's a defensive guru. He's the defensive guy to go out there and coach up the defense, mainly, even when they're dealing with injuries. Remember when Bruce Arians was the head coach and they won that Super Bowl with Tom Brady? He was the defensive coordinator and he made adjustments on the fly. That same guy is no longer here. He's not able to do that because he's the head coach. He has to sit in on offensive meetings. He has to sit in on special team meetings instead of just sitting in on defensive meetings and just worrying about the linebackers and the defensive linemen and the safeties and the cornerbacks. You have to worry about the entire team. And we've seen a clear regression since he's become the head coach with this defense. You can't have that, especially in this division. But it's very unfortunate to see Kirk Cousins go out there and have the success that he had against this defense in back-to-back meetings. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you guys feel about Todd Bowles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? And should he be fired if this team does not make the NFL playoffs this season? I will also say this as well. Like I said, I can sympathize with them, but I can also see if they still stick with Todd Bowles. Because like I mentioned before, he still does a lot of good things. But as a head coach, it seems like he's overwhelmed this season. But just let me know how you feel about Todd Bowles in the comment section below. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, we want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. God bless. Peace.